everybody, welcome to Wild Boy Movies, the place to talk movies, and today we're going to be reviewing Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, the latest film in the Planet of the Apes franchise. Right now I'm going to have some information up on screen for you to read, like director, MPAA rating, runtime, all of that will be up on screen for you to read right now. But be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment down below your thoughts on this movie. But without further ado, let's get right into the pros. Alright, starting off, I gotta praise how this Planet of the Apes world looks in this movie, because this is set 300 years after the last film, War for the Planet of the Apes. Basically, all the buildings that have been around from the beginning of the last trilogy are now covered in vines and now destroyed, and is now overrun by apes. And the look of the world is just very cool. We know that Wes Ball, the director of this movie, which I will talk about later on in this review, is going to be directing the upcoming live-action Legend of Zelda movie, and I have full confidence that the look of the Zelda world is going to be very good, because he did a great job of what the world of the Planet of the Apes looks like 300 years after war. Also, I gotta say that this movie definitely pays respect to the Matt Reeves trilogy that we got from Rise, Dawn, and War. This Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes movie honors that trilogy, while also setting a perfect pathway of what we can expect from the future of this franchise. And in fact, the opening scene of the movie perfectly pays tribute to the past three movies. And throughout the film, they will reference the character of Caesar, who was a big character of the ape society. And I thought they did that perfectly, where it wasn't disrespectful to the last three movies that are so beloved in the movie community. And speaking of the ape society, I love that within the first 10 to 15 minutes of this movie, we get to explore what this current ape society's lifestyle is, from trying to capture bird eggs to how these apes live in their communities. It's just that world building that I love to see in these movies, especially in this one, knowing that 300 years have passed from the last movie to this one. I really love how we got to see what the society of apes look like. I also gotta go ahead and praise Caesar in the movie, because yes, I know that he did die in War for the Planet of the Apes. His overall message of the apes together strong quote has a huge presence in this movie, to where the villain of the movie, Proximus Caesar, uses that quote and misinterprets it, and also misinterprets the teachings of Caesar. It's a similar thing to why the Punisher logo in the Marvel Comics had to change, because people were using that old logo for protests and US military stuff, to where gave it a negative connotation. That exact thing happens with Caesar and his quote of apes together strong, and his teachings that he left behind from the previous three movies. The villain Proximus Caesar misinterprets it and uses it for his own gain. The CG in this movie also deserves some recognition, because the CGI in this movie, to me, is on par with the last three Planet of the Apes movies, and they had pretty good CGI, and Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes continues the usage of good CGI for these ape characters. I know that's a common thing of modern Planet of the Apes movies, but we recently had a lot of bad CGI come out of some Hollywood movies. It's nice to have some good CGI in a world where we have a lot of terrible CGI. I also do really like the action sequences that go on in this movie, because although they're not as big and grand as the previous few movies, they're still very fun to watch. The first action sequence that we get in this movie, where Proximus goons go after this ape society that our main character Noah lives in. That sequence was not only fun to watch, but also suspenseful because I wanted to know like how this was gonna end up. Even though I knew like the entire society would collapse, like this particular like clan, I still had suspense for like that entire sequence. And even like the final battle between Noah and Proxima Caesar, even though I knew that our hero was gonna win, I was still in suspense like how is this gonna end up? I also like the group of characters that we have in this movie, like Proxima Caesar as like this main villain. I thought he did like a good job as like this villain that's wanting to like to rule over the ape society. Even though if we compare Proxima Caesar to someone like Koba, Proxima Caesar is no match for someone like Koba in terms of like well-structured villain. He was still like a pretty good antagonist for the movie. A human character in the movie who I don't remember her name did like a fine job in the movie, like compared to like the different human characters like James Franco and Jason Clarke. She wasn't the best of the human actors, but still she did like a fine job in the movie. But, like the best character to come out of the movie is Noah, our main character. And he's essentially going to be our new Caesar for this new franchise, because when I say he's going to be the new Caesar, I don't mean that they're going to be copying and pasting the story of Caesar to this character. What I mean is that he's going to be like a new central character that we follow within these next few movies, depending on how many Disney wants to make. But like seeing the character arc of Noah and how he progresses from like the beginning of the movie to the end, I really like that part of the movie and very interested to see where his story goes next. And finally, I gotta go ahead and praise Wes Ball for this movie because his previous filmography included the Maze Runner trilogy, which is a series that I have not seen and don't have an interest to. But admittedly, he did a great job with this movie and definitely is a worthy director to take over the directing of Matt Reeves while he's busy over at the Batman universe with Robert Pattinson. Like, he did such a very good job in the movie. Like, I really want him to return for like these next few movies. That is, if Disney wants to make these next few Planet of the Apes movies. But major props to Wes Ball because he did the impossible. We all were very hesitant when he was announced as the director, replacing Matt Reeves, and he managed to make a very good movie, so he deserves like the biggest praise for this movie. But yeah, I really like this movie and consider it to be like top tier Planet of the Apes movies, up there with like Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. But there kind of was some things that was holding it back from being the best film in the franchise, leading me to my cons. Really, I only have one con for the movie, and that is it's kinda has some slow moments in the movie. Now, don't get me wrong, a lot of these slower moments that don't involve like action really worked in this movie. It's just some of it kind of felt like it kind of padded up the runtime, particularly in like the middle of the movie. That's where a lot of the boring stuff kind of happened in it. But it's scenes that I do not really mind watching because it's crucial to the plot. It was kind of like the part where my interest kind of like fell a bit for this movie, even though I still was very interested in seeing what this movie had in store. But even with that con, I still thought this was a great movie and definitely a worthy successor to the Matt Reeves trilogy. So for my scorecard, I'm gonna give Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes 4.5 stars, with my score out of 10 being 9.1 out of 10, with the percentage being 91%, with a grade of A-, with my final verdict being a great start for a new franchise. But that was my review for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I genuinely want to know from you guys, what did you think about this movie? Leave your thoughts down in the comments section, and while you're at it, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video. And have a great day.